From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and All India Radio, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. I'm Charu Sharma for Akashvani in India, and great to be back on Stumped after being away to the Arctic for 2 or 3 icy weeks. It was a great trip, the Norwegian Arctic, the Svalbard, and we were lucky to catch a lot of polar bear sightings. But I'm back in Mumbai, which is plus 40 right now, so it's sweltering. And I'm about to leave, of course, for Patna, the capital of the state of Bihar, where the government is rising and realizing the importance of sport. So whenever a government gets enthusiastic about sport, it's always good news. I'm to host their 2-day symposium, which will be fun. Of course, I've missed a lot of the IPL, no cricket in the Arctic, but it is now reaching a fantastic climax.
Nice to see you again, Charu. I hope you weren't wrestling with those polar bears. They've got a strong diet. And I'm sure they'd love to be taking in some fellow travellers for afternoon tea. But it's not quite the Arctic down here in Sydney. It's Jim Maxwell here for the ABC, but it's getting cooler. So I'm looking forward to heading north, well, hopefully heading to a warmer north in the UK in a couple of weeks' time in preparation for that big game at the Oval. And that, of course, the Ashes.
Well, good afternoon, both of you. I'm Nikesh Ragani here in Leicester in the East Midlands in England for the BBC. It's been another week of commentating on the IPL for me and watching the likes of Joe Root bench warming and supposedly warming up for the Ashes by doing that, which is very strange to me. What's not so strange is that it's pretty cool here at the moment. Spring hasn't really arrived in England, and not only is that a concern really ahead of the English international season, but also for me personally as well. I've come out of retirement this year, looking to play a few games, and I'm actually picking up a brand new bat later on today after this recording. So looking forward to it, and hopefully the weather can be on my side.
Well, we certainly hope so. I wonder if people still condition their bats as we used to in the past. Nikesh, good luck with that. But since both of you mentioned that the big one's coming up, in fact, 2 big ones, let's begin with that first on Stumped. We're just over a month away now from one of the biggest rivalries in cricket being renewed, the men's Ashes between England and Australia, and that starts at Edgbaston next month. But before that, Australia, of course, do face the challenge of India in the final of the World Test Championships at the Oval on June 7. Nikesh, do please make sure the sun comes out by then at least. So we hope for the best. It's going to be cold. And Jim, there's so much competition for places, isn't there, as far as the Australian team's concerned, both for England and Australia, matter of fact, right now. And you've been speaking to somebody special, I believe, from the Aussie camp who's hoping to make his mark.
Well, he did 4 years ago. He got his opportunity. I caught up with Marcus Harris during the week. He's one of the 4 opening batsmen in the squad. And yes, there's some stiff competition, I suppose, as we go on through this series. But Usman Khawaja and David Warner will be there at the start. And Harris is playing county cricket for Gloucestershire, and he's hoping that having that experience in English conditions will stand him in good stead.
Yeah, well, I think it's probably the best preparation you can have. English conditions are obviously different to Australia, and so I know coming into 2019, I remember not having played England before, and wasn't a shock to the system, but it was just something so different, especially at the Test level, that I wouldn't say I was underprepared, but I just wasn't probably as prepared as what I could be. So I've been fortunate now to have 3 years of county cricket, so I just think it gives me the best chance to succeed, should I be given the opportunity throughout the English summer.
So where do you see yourself fitting into this Australian team if you get an opportunity? There are 4 opening batsmen there, Warner, Khawaja, Renshaw and yourself. So where do you squeeze in?
Well, I think that Davey and Uzi will obviously start. So I know I understand that, so I know that I'll be having to wait for an opportunity, but I think when my opportunity comes, I'll be opening the batting, and that's what selectors and coaches have told me. So I know what my role is. It's just a matter of waiting and being patient, and whenever that comes, I feel like I'll be ready to go, but I'm not putting any extra pressure on myself to have to try and force my way in or anything like that. I know I'm ready to go, and whenever that chance comes, it'll come.
And the perennial question that all the pundits would ask, David Warner. Is the pressure on him to keep his place? Is he near the end of his career? How do you see his situation going into these matches?
I've done a few interviews now, and obviously with my position and where I am, I get asked it every time. And my answer is the same: is that I think Davey has arguably been, if not the best opener ever for Australia. So I think he's earned the right to finish whenever he wants to finish, and whether or not that's this series or whether or not it's at home in a home summer, that's up to him. But I think he's earned the right to see out the way he wants to see it out, and I think most of the team feels the same way, that Davey's earned the right to do that.
Stuart Broad appeared to have the number over David Warner in particular. Maybe you a couple of times 4 years ago. What do you have to combat when he comes at you around the wicket with a new ball? He bowled really well in that 2019 series. I think, the hardest thing is when it's around the wicket is with the way that Broady bowls is with his wobble seam. So it's a bit of nip both ways. And then with the Duke ball, you can swing it as well. So it's probably trying to figure out which way you is an acceptable out for you, and then owning that. So he's obviously trying to hit you on the pad. So probably trying to work out a way not to get out LBW, but accepting that he might nick you off or something like that. So the challenge is now, I think once you've seen with DRS and stuff like that and reviews, that a lot of bowlers just bowl around the wicket to left-handers now. So, but in the same breath, we've had a lot of practice at trying to, work out a way to get over that and score and be effective against it. So I feel like we'll be better prepared for it. Not that we weren't well prepared last time, but we sort of know what their plan of attack will be. You're thinking of a Bazball approach of some sort, batting a yard outside your crease and taking them on?
No, I don't think that's not my game. I'll probably just try and play the way that I play and, go from there. But it is good to watch the way those guys play and go about it. They definitely take the game on, but I don't think that suits the way I play, no.
So do you think Australia has a more potent discipline attack than perhaps England have faced during their recent success that is going to make Bazball a riskier proposition against the Australian bowlers?
Yeah, it's a good question. I remember being over here last summer, and I know when they first started playing the way that they're playing against New Zealand, some people question that, but then they came up against India, who was arguably probably one of the best attacks in the world as well, and they still did the same thing. So I wouldn't discredit the way that the English guys have played. Our attack's obviously very good, and I'd like to say the best attack in the world. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll soon find out once that first test match starts what they're going to do, but it's going to be a good battle either way. So it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds. I think a lot is going to depend on what the wickets are like. If the wickets are green and doing a bit, it's probably going to be hard to come out and smack them. But if the wickets are probably a bit flatter and a bit slower, probably gives them a better chance to play like that.
So as you look ahead and anticipate the series, as everyone is with so much expectation, what do you see as the differences between the side? Can you put your finger on it, potentially the differences that might make Australia the better team in the final analysis?
I think maybe that you could probably argue our team's a little bit more settled. We've probably had a pretty similar team now for the last probably 18 months. And I think now with Greeny being fit, it just gives a bit of balance to that middle order. And then our bowling attack is second to none. So, and having players fit, I think fitness is a big thing especially with the bowlers. If you can keep the same attack, or only rotate a few blokes, that gives you a big opportunity of winning the test matches. So I think that would probably be our, if any advantage would be that. But I wouldn't underestimate the English side, and definitely wouldn't underestimate anything they've done in the past, 18 months. And confidence is a funny thing in cricket, and they're definitely playing with confidence. So it's going to be good to watch and interesting to see how it all unfolds.
And the old mind games keep going around here and there with various players, like Stuart Broad declaring that the last Ashes series was void because of COVID. What do you and your mates make of that? Yeah,
I found that pretty funny. That was good. We were all in a hub, so it was hard work. COVID was shocking, but it was obviously a challenge for them being overseas and in bubbles, and it was really tight restrictions at the time. But I wouldn't say it was void, but I think it's a good discussion point from Broady. But I think we'll still be claiming that we won that series 4-0.
Now, Nathan Lyons got off like Glenn McGrath in the last 24 hours saying, it'll be 5-0 Australia. You daring to make a prediction?
No, I haven't played 100 tests, so I'm not going to say anything. But that Gazza is funny with stuff like that. But I just think if we play our best cricket, we should win the series. So, but if we win at 5-0, if we win at 3-2, 2-1, doesn't matter as long as we win. I know we were so close last time with retaining them, but we would love to win them. So, but I think we've got the side to do it. I'm not going to predict the scoreline though.
It's interesting though that it's 22 years since Australia won a series in England, and for a lot of that time they've been the top-ranked team in the world. So it's a bit of extra incentive, isn't it, to win in England with that marginal record behind Australia?
Yeah, I think so. I think, like I know that team back 22 years ago is probably one of the best Australian teams, if not the best Australian team to ever play as a test side. So I think it'd be a good feather in our cap as a squad if we could win the series over here. It is a really tough place to tour. So as in like cricket-wise, it's a great place to tour otherwise. But it's tough cricket. But I just think we've got a good squad now. We're quite settled. I think looking back at 2019, sort of Smithy and Davey were getting reintegrated back into the squad where they've had 4 years of cricket under their belt now. We've got a brilliant attack. And now, got Uzi's going really well. Marnie's going really well. Hetty and Greeny. So we've got a good team. And yeah, there's no reason why we can't win at this time.
Marcus, thank you very much for your thoughts, and good luck. I hope you get the opportunity to be part of Australia's campaign to win once again in England. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim. Cheers, mate.
So that was Marcus Harris. A very interesting interview, I must confess, Jim. So what do you make of Harris and his chances of actually making a mark this summer? I'm sure he's got a lot of hope there.
Well, it just depends pretty much at the moment on what David Warner does. Everyone's been saying that this is a valedictory tour for Warner, his last opportunity perhaps, and can he recapture some of his better form, given that he barely scored a run, particularly against Stuart Broad here 4 years ago. And Harris certainly wasn't convincing in the few innings that he had in that series. And although he's played 14 tests, he's not yet scored a test 100. He's sort of looked okay without really nailing down the part.
We've already heard from the Australia camp, but there's huge news from England as well, because Johnny Bairstow is back to the test squad, as he perhaps should be, to face Ireland, of course, in that one-off test match at the start of the next month, after recovering from a broken leg. That's Bairstow. But he has been named as the wicket-keeper, meaning that Ben Foakes misses out. And hasn't he done a fabulous job so far? So the director of cricket, Rob Key, says it's a decision they agonized over. England has now claimed that, yes, it's a really tough one, but Bairstow must get a look in despite the fact that Foakes has done so well. Nikesh, complicated one for England. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely complicated one. Look, there's no doubt, first and foremost, that Johnny Bairstow has to come back in if he's fit. He was England's player of the summer in 2022, sort of, really took the bull by the horns in terms of this new style of cricket that England are looking to play. Positive, on the front foot. He was so crucial in some of those run chases, the record run chase against India. We all remember Trent Bridge, that century in the fourth innings to beat New Zealand. There were so many great moments from Johnny Bairstow. I suppose the question is, does he have to be in the side as a wicketkeeper? And is there a place for both of them? Which, some people may be suggesting as well. Look, Ben Foakes is a brilliant keeper. Ben Stokes, the skipper, actually said a year ago that he's the best keeper in the world, in my opinion, and we can't leave world-class players out of our team. And when you look at it, can you afford to have somebody who's not as good behind the stumps in such a major series such as the Ashes? Yes, there's not going to be a lot of spin playing a part and, keepers standing up to the stump. So there is a little bit more give in terms of that side of things. But, was there a place for both of them? Zach Crawley's still in the squad. He's batting at the top of the order. He's got a test average of 27. And from his 20 test matches, Ben Foakes has got an average of 32. So you could argue that he's been the better batter in that time anyway. And could he come in that middle order place, Ben Foakes, and have somebody like a Johnny Bairstow further up towards the top of the order? Would that be messing with it too much? I don't know, but there's lots of debate around it. And you've got to feel sorry for somebody like a Foakes. maybe he just doesn't fit into this inverted commas Bazball style of cricket, and that's the reason why they've not gone with him. I really don't know, but he continues to perform well in county cricket. He's never let England down. As you say, he's been part of those 10 victories out of the last 12 test matches and performed really well in that time, not just behind the stumps, but also with the bat. And, look, Johnny Bairstow, Stefan Schemmelt, who writes for the BBC Sport website, described it as this: Johnny Bairstow is England's fire starter. Ben Foakes is England's fire fighter. And is there a place for both in the side? Maybe there should be, but there won't be this time by the looks of it.
I was trying to remember the captain. I think Athers was the one who also mentioned that Foakes would be very lucky to miss out because he is England's best keeper, but so be it. Jim, this confusion might, in fact, help Australia a bit. Do you think your thoughts?
Well, Bairstow's selection has thrown the balance of the side out, or he's in because of that, I guess. Stokes doesn't bowl as much as he did, and Harry Brook was so good when he came into the side that he has demanded a spot, whereas Bairstow comes in a bit more marginally, I suppose, particularly off an injury, as a specialist number 7 and wicketkeeper. I'm not sure that that's the ideal situation for England. It'll smooth out as we go, perhaps, because this is the early phase of the summer. And Bairstow's there on a tremendous reputation built last year, but it's not a strong one against Australia in England, where he's been found out more often than not. 2 centuries in Australia, but none in England. And Foakes is clearly a much better wicketkeeper, but it's England's issue because it's not their batting, it's their bowling that they've got to get right. And in order to compromise, they found a spot for Bairstow because they need, they think, the extra batting. They need him as much as anyone else because of that. And he's going to keep wicket. Now, how it works, we'll just have to wait and see. But I don't think it's an ideal situation for England, and Australia would be happy more or less that this is a change that's imminent. Although we do have to remember, at this point, it is only for a test match against Ireland.
That's it for this week's Stumped. My thanks to Jim Maxwell, as always, and Nikesh Rugani. Nikesh, thanks so much for joining us. And all of you, thanks for listening. Join us again next time. For now, goodbye.